Hi, fellow traders. Man, what a morning. If you were here in the community or on YouTube with me this morning, you guys saw it firsthand. This is one of those days that we don't even want to think about, but they happen. And as long as they don't happen too often, we're able to deal with it and we're able to, work through it and we're able to learn from it. So that's ideal. Talk about side B from yesterday. Today was side B all day long. And like I said yesterday, side B is what kills you, it's what breaks you. And once it breaks you, you put the pieces back together and you're that much stronger. So, but we'll talk about what happened today in a minute, pick up on those things. But I want to tell you this: good things come to those who don't give up and work their asses off. So keep working, fam. Keep working. And that doesn't mean keep losing money, keep spending money. You can work without having to do that. Just work smartly. And good things will happen. Everything will open up for you. Now, I've got several guys who are graduating out of this roadmap to success, the roadmap to success membership that they had. They're moving on to another one. They actually took advantage of the yearly stuff for the 4th of July, but they don't need the direct instruction that they got for the last 6 months. They're at a point where they're ready to grow into their own trader. And that's what makes me the most proud. So with that said, I do have this weekend, I will be offering the Roadmap to Success special. I think there's 5 openings right now because I got 3 leaving. I had 2 last week, 3 this week. So got 5 altogether. But it's just like the last time, once they're filled, I close it because I can only work with so many people one-on-one. And I don't want to get so many to where you have to wait 2 weeks to meet and you have to wait 2-3 days for me to answer your emails and your charts and whatever you send me. These guys that are graduating out and moving on, these are the ones that journaled every day, that sent me their charts, that took the time to ask questions. You have the same, everybody that's a member now has the same opportunity. I'm there every day. I know the morning when I'm trading, I can't look at every stock and give you what I think, in the middle of a trade. I can't do that. But I can answer questions about what I'm trading. I can answer questions about some general stuff. But in the afternoon when it's quiet, I'm there. Ask me questions. I'm not going to sit there and just talk just to be talking and be a talking head. It doesn't make sense to me. So ask me questions. If you traded and you want to look at your trade, send me the charts. We could even bring it up in chat if you want. So take advantage of what you already have. That's what's going to help you get to that next level. This Roadmap to Success special is for 6 months. You get access to everything. You're not cut off or separated from anything. The mentor sessions, most of these guys did it. I met with them every week for 15 minutes. Some in the morning before the market, some in the afternoon after the market closed, some at lunch. But they needed that assurance every week that they were on the right track. I would look at some of their trades that they had questions about during the week, email it to me, whatever. This is the best opportunity you're gonna have. This is not like anything else you've ever been in. If you've been in other communities, it's not like anything else. You can make it like it, but it's not, because I am here to be and you have access to me all day pretty much, except for when I go to lunch. And I feel I deserve a lunch break. So take advantage of this. This will be offered, I think, tomorrow. I should have it up. But like I said, once I fill it, once I get these 5 seats filled, I'm going to close it up again until I'm able to take some more people in. But if you have any questions about it, you want to talk to me about it, shoot me an email, or we can chat on Skype, whatever. Just let me know. Now, the market, I'm looking for this thing to break 300. I've been looking for it all week. And this is, I'm bringing this up because I really believe this is why we're not getting good follow through on everything. There are some stocks that are giving good moves. Unfortunately, Roku made a great move today. A great moves all day. I probably could have made $1,000 off of it. But it broke my heart the last 2 days, so I didn't even look at it today. But you're going to have 1 or 2 stocks that's going to give you these big trade opportunities. But for the most part, you're going to see a lot of flatness. So maybe tomorrow we wake up to a gap up over 300. And if it can hold and we go into the weekend over 300, we should have a decent week next week. Once earnings kicks off. I still think Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is going to be dead. But once we start to get some earnings coming in, I think things are going to pick up. So looking forward to that. Now, BBBY, if you didn't see the earnings trade yesterday, it's in the video from yesterday. Just find that and check it out. And I explained what I was looking for, but just to reiterate, I was looking for it to hit and test the 52-week low on the earnings announcement yesterday. I knew, and the sentiment was that they were going to beat earnings. They were going to make positive earnings per share, but the guidance was going to be crappy. And they did report crappy guidance. I think this just had so many people that were buy happy that just could not believe that the guidance was so bad. This is a retail stock, guys. Their future is bleak. I mean, the future is bleak. They're going to have to change some things up and make some major changes, or else this is going to look just like, what was that old store? Radio Shack. I sat here, and when I came in the market, Radio Shack was dying like this too. And I sat there and watched it die a slow death. A lot of these smaller retailers, if they don't get bought up by somebody, they're going to die a slow death. But the movement on earnings is based on guidance. Where is the stock likely to be in 6 to 8 months from now? The stock is likely to be around $8. So that's where I'm looking for this thing to go. But you're going to have support here at the 52-week low, no doubt about it. And this is why I didn't have it on my watch list. We had it on there initially, and I pulled it off because here I knew at the open I didn't want it long. I knew I wanted it short. And I knew at the open, best case scenario on a 5-minute opening range trade was to get in right under here, right around 1075. And if that was the case, it was only 30 cents to the 52-week low. Not enough room for me to trade this. I was not trading this 5,000 shares. No way. So this was a no-go for me. So I didn't put it on my watch, and it did exactly what I anticipated it was going to do. It did not make any move. It actually turned around and bounced. So nothing there. Now the one that really, really broke my back was GRUB. This thing gave me flashbacks of my gap and go days. And that only lasted a week before I realized that was not a strategy for me. And this is kind of This kind of gave me flashbacks. This is not a low price, low dollar stock. And rarely do you see the second 5-minute candle engulf the first 5-minute candle. Usually this first candle is larger, has more volume. This is just one of these really unique situations that you do not run into that often. So the entry was good. It was based off the 5-minute opening range low. So I was okay with the entry here. And it dipped a little bit and then it ripped up. And this thing ripped so fast. And you know, I never ever put my hard stop in on the first candle. I never do because of volatility reasons. I never do it. And this time it caught me. You know, and even if I tried to put it in, I probably wouldn't have had time to put it in. That's just how fast this thing ripped. And I couldn't sit there and hold it and hope that it comes back. This thing could have kept ripping all the way back up to where it got from. It could have wiped me out today. So I did the right thing. I took it off. It was a lot bigger loss than it should have been. But this is this is the chance that we take when we get in the market. Now that's just a chance we take. If we're unwilling to take this risk, then we should go outside and play Frisbee or something. We shouldn't be here trying to trade the market. So, yeah, this took the wind out of my sail. It made me want to, go cry in the corner somewhere, but we can't do that. We're traders, we're professionals, and we have to take our lumps and keep going. And I know I've gotten a lot of messages, a lot of advice about, you should change this, you should change that. You got to be consistent, guys. The market will come back. If you have a profitable strategy that you've made money over the course of several years, you can't change. You don't give it up if you go through a rough stretch of 2 or 3 weeks. You don't, especially when you're going through the slowest and the suckiest 2 weeks of the year. The 4th of July week and then the week after, leading up to the second quarter earnings reporting, it's going to be terrible. So you just have to be able to manage your risk and keep doing your thing. A couple of Saturdays ago, I did a live workshop with a group of day traders here in Columbia. And one of the exercises I had a weighted coin that was weighted on heads. I had a coin that was weighted on tails. I broke them up into 2 groups. I had one person to bet heads every time, one person to bet tails every time, one person to try and predict heads or tails, and then I had one person flipping a coin. And I wanted the same person flipping it because I wanted consistency in it, and they flipped. If it was weighted on heads, they flipped from heads every time. If the group had the coin weighted on tails, they flipped on tails every time. And I kept everything consistent. And we had 3 sets of 100. And of course, the one who had picked heads, who had the coin weighted on heads, they won most of the time. Same thing with tails. The one that had tails, they won most of the time. The guys, and here's the thing, the guys that were trying to predict, when they started to see the 3rd time they did it was the best time, because they started to predict and see that heads was going to come. If they were in the heads group, the guy figured heads was going to come more often, and he did better on the 3rd try than the guy that picked tails every time. And the same way with the guy with tails. And we had a very interesting dialogue with that. And they saw the more consistent they picked and they didn't jump around, the better they did. And even the guy that picked tails every time with the weighted heads coin, he did well enough to where if he was betting money on it, he would have made a little bit of money. But had he tried to guess, he wouldn't have done well. And so with us in trading, this is why a lot of new traders really screw up. They never get out of this because they'll try a strategy if it works for a week, and then they start to struggle and they have 2 or 3 days where they can't do anything. Then they start looking to change their strategy. You can't do that. If you do, you'll never get anywhere. You have to be consistent. Now, if your strategy is never profitable, then yeah, you need to find something else to do. But if you're trading a profitable strategy, then you have to be consistent with your execution. Regardless, you got to be consistent. And so that exercise really, they couldn't believe how that changed their mindset going into trading. Because you think about it, your trading strategy is the market is like the flip of the coin. Okay, your trading strategy gives you the advantage, just like if you were flipping a weighted coin. And you pick, if it's weighted heads, you pick heads every time, you're going to win. I think this guy won 68 to 72% of the time. And same thing with tails. And that proved to them, hey, if I'm just consistent, I don't need to know what's going to happen. If I'm consistent, I know that I'm either going to make money or lose money. And it's not about being right or wrong. It's about consistently executing your strategy in the market. And that's what this is all about. A simple 5-minute opening range breakdown, if I saw it tomorrow, I would do it again tomorrow. It's the simple strategy. And I probably wouldn't lose this much tomorrow. It took me for $200 more than what I wanted to lose. But it is what it is. We have to. And what do you learn from this? What do you learn from this? You can't, it just moved too fast. You couldn't even put a hard stop in. And you can't look at this stock and say, oh, I don't want to trade this. What gave you any indication that this stock was going to do this? There's none. So all you can do is execute your strategy. If it doesn't work, take it off and move on. And that's kind of what we did. Now, the stock that really pissed me off was CI. Okay, this one ran up, and this was running up with CVS. CVS did not have the windows of opportunity I wanted in there. I should have taken a picture of that chart, but it did not have the profit potential. And what I'm talking about is between these pivots from the daily chart. There was plenty of room to make profit between these pivots. And CVS, everything was just so tight on it. You didn't see where it could move a lot. So what I did was I waited for this to get on the back side of the move. Now, if we pulled back here and we bounced and we made a higher high, we were going to continue to go. If this pulled back, it bounced, it made a lower high, pulled back, made a lower low relative to this bounce. Once we lost this 20, I'm good, because we're not in the uptrend anymore. In this short-term uptrend, we have broken the trend, and now we're setting a downtrend. And as a day trader, I'm trading the short-term trends. I'm not trading long-term trends. So I'm looking at the short term. I'm expecting this to come back. And I got in and this thing started to work. It came within a couple of cents of hitting my target. But it happened so quick. And I couldn't even flip to get manual. That's just how fast it ran down here. And then it came back and stopped me out. And I'm like, this is what these guys do. This is the trick. But I had to stop out. I had no choice but to stop out. And I had to stick to my rules. And then here, when we hit this and we started to reject, I'm like, I know the game these guys are playing. So I'm going to get in. And I've got enough room up here to where it can reject off the VWAP. And I know it's a little bit of pain, but just hold it and let it work the rest of the day. That was the idea, is just to let it work the rest of the day. And when I was going to lunch, after all of this fiasco, what I told you guys, keep CI on watch. It has the most potential. Okay, this had the most potential for a trade into the end of the day. CVS didn't have it. And you can see this is exactly the type trades that we like to have. This is what we look for. What pissed me off is it didn't do this when it should have. It popped, but we can't. It's not something that we can regulate. It's what the market does. We have to accept it, stay locked in. Remember, don't give up. You got to stay focused. You got to be locked in and go. Now, here's a little caveat here. If you are a brand new trader, or if you don't have a whole lot of experience, once you have a pretty harsh morning, you shut it down. Okay, but eventually you're going to have to get to the point where you're going to have to be able to deal with mornings like this and come back. Okay, you're going to be a professional trader. You do this for a living. You can't let bad mornings or stressful mornings stop you in your tracks. If you take a minute, take a walk, do whatever you need to do, and then you got to come back to work. Now, if you really feel you need to lose the day, then do it. But if you don't feel that way, you get back to work and stay within yourself. But you have to trust yourself that you're not going to chase. You're not going to make stupid mistakes, and you're going to stick to the plan. And so that's what we did here, and kind of brought the day back in focus. Still down, still lost 246.52, but we were down after this first trade on CI. We were down over $300. Looking at this, we're down over $300. And to come back and make 300, that means we erased the 300 that we were down and then made 300 more. So this was a $600 trade. A $600 trade that would have paid $600 if it wasn't for this fiasco. But there's nothing we did wrong here. There's nothing we did wrong. You can sit here and analyze it till you're blue in the face, but this is the strategy. This is the strategy that I trade. The continuation. I'm not going to short it on the first trip. I'm not going to short it into the 200, into the 20. The second, if it rejects the 9, I don't have a problem shortening into it, because we are probably going to be coming down, and that's really what I was looking for. So you guys had plenty of opportunity to, even if you stopped yourself out here, you had another opportunity, several opportunities to get in this and get a piece of this trade. Multiple opportunities. So this is why you got to stay locked in, stay focused, but don't force anything. All right, so that's gonna do it for me today. You guys have a great night, great rest of a great evening, rest of the night, and I will see you first thing in the morning.